The top 5 most valuable Lincoln pennies that could be worth a fortune. In this video, we break down the rarest and most sought-after Lincoln cents, including valuable wheat pennies, rare mint marks, and unique error coins. Whether you're a new collector or just curious about what's in your pocket change, these top Lincoln pennies are definitely worth looking out for. The 1967 Lincoln penny is interesting among collectors due to its lack of a mint mark and potential for error varieties. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was not placing mint marks on coins as part of an effort to discourage coin hoarding during a national coin shortage. This means that all 1967 Lincoln pennies lack a mint mark, which doesn't add extra value on its own. However, error varieties can make a 1967 penny valuable. Key error types and values. Here are some of the notable errors for the 1967 Lincoln penny and their approximate values. Double die errors. Double die varieties, especially on the obverse, are highly sought after. Depending on the severity and condition, these coins can be worth from around $200 to over $1,100 in high grades. Off-center strikes. Off-center errors range in value depending on the percentage of the off-center strike. Minor off-centers, 5 to 10%, may be worth around $100 to $800, while extreme off-centers, 50% or more, can fetch $1,000 or more. BIE error. The BIE error, caused by a die crack between the B and E in Liberty, creates a small vertical line resembling an I. Values typically around $80 to $500 in circulated grades and more in uncirculated grades. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet error is when a small portion of the coin's edge is missing due to an error in the blanking process. This can add value, ranging from $50 to $400 depending on the size and completeness of the clip. General value for non-error coins. A regular 1967 penny without errors is generally worth only face value in circulated condition. However, uncirculated examples or coins graded MS65 or higher can be valued at $30 to $100, with particularly pristine examples reaching even more. Collecting error coins from 1967 can be rewarding due to their historical context, but values depend heavily on the specific error type and the coin's overall condition. If you have a 1967 penny with a rim error, consider having it evaluated by a coin grading service or dealer for a more precise valuation, especially if the error is substantial. The 1971 S. Lincoln penny, minted in San Francisco, is noteworthy for its proof quality and potential for rare error varieties. While standard 1971 S. pennies in circulated and uncirculated condition are generally not very valuable, certain proof varieties and error coins can attract higher interest and prices among collectors. The 1971 S. penny primarily exists as a proof coin, intended for collectors and not for general circulation. Proof coins are struck with specially prepared dies, producing sharp details and mirror-like finishes. Circulating 1971 Lincoln pennies were minted only in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark, while the S mint mark identifies the coin as a proof from San Francisco. The 1971 S proof penny is known for a rare doubled die obverse, DDO, error, where parts of the design, such as Liberty, In God We Trust, this error is highly sought after and can command significant premiums. Values for 1971 S proof pennies with a DDO can range from $500 to over $5,000 depending on the coin's condition and the extent of doubling, with coins in higher grades fetching the highest prices. Standard proofs. Regular proof 1971 S pennies without errors are more common and generally valued between $5 to $20. However, high-grade examples, graded PR69 or PR70 by PCGS or NGC, can be valued higher, reaching $50 to $500 or more due to their pristine condition. Cameo and deep cameo varieties. Some 1971 S proof pennies display cameo or deep cameo, DCAM, contrasts, with frosted designs and mirrored fields. These varieties are more visually appealing and valuable, especially in high grades. Cameo and deep cameo examples can range from $150 to over $2,000, with high-grade deep cameo examples fetching the upper end. Minor errors, less common. Other minor errors, like die cracks, rim burrs, or planchet flaws, may occasionally be found on 1971's proof pennies. While these errors are generally not as valuable as the DDO, they can still command premiums, usually between $100 to $500 depending on the error type and visibility. The most valuable 1971's pennies are those with clear and significant errors, especially the DDO variety. Collectors often seek these coins due to the proof quality and error rarity, making high-grade and error varieties of the 1971's penny among the most desirable for that year. The 1983 Lincoln penny is known among collectors for several error varieties, some of which can be quite valuable. Most of these errors are due to production issues that occurred after the U.S. Mint transitioned from copper to a zinc core in 1982, resulting in unique varieties and occasional errors in the following years. Here are the most notable 1983 Lincoln penny errors and their approximate values. Notable 1983 error varieties. 1983 Double Die Reverse, DDR. The most famous and valuable 1983 error is the Double Die Reverse. This error is relatively rare and highly sought after. Values for this error range from $250 to $500 in circulated condition, while uncirculated examples can fetch $1,000 or more, depending on the coin's grade. Higher-grade DDR pennies have sold at auction for several $1,000s. 1983 Transitional Error, Copper Planchet. Some 1983 pennies were accidentally struck on copper planchets left over from pre-1982 production. These are transitional errors because the U.S. Mint switched from copper, 95% copper, 5% zinc, to a zinc core with a copper coating in 1982. A 1983 penny struck on a copper planchet can be identified by weighing it, 3.11 grams for copper versus 2.5 grams for zinc. This error is exceedingly rare, with only a few known examples, and can be worth $10,000 to $15,000 or more depending on the grade. Off-center strike. Off-center strikes occur when the coin is not properly centered during the striking process, resulting in part of the design missing. The value depends on the extent of the off-center strike and whether the date is visible. Values for off-center 1983 pennies range from $50 to $400 for minor off-centers and up to $1,500 or more for dramatic off-center strikes. Clipped planchet. Clipped planchets occur when a blank is incorrectly cut, resulting in a coin with a missing portion. Values for clipped planchet errors on 1983 pennies can range from $100 to $1,000 or more, depending on the size and shape of the clip. Broad strike error. A broad strike error happens when a coin is struck without a collar, causing it to expand outward and produce a wider, rimless appearance. These are less common and can range in value from $150 to $500. Regular 1983 penny value. In general, a standard 1983 penny without errors, in circulated condition, is worth only face value. However, high-grade examples, graded MS-65 or above, without errors can be worth $30 to $150 due to collector interest in pristine, zinc core pennies. 1983 Lincoln pennies with these errors are highly collectible, especially the DDR and copper planchet errors. The 1986 D Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, is typically common, but certain errors and high-grade specimens can increase its value among collectors. By 1986, pennies were being minted on a copper-plated zinc planchet, which sometimes led to unique error varieties due to the challenging nature of working with zinc. Here are some of the most notable 1986 D penny errors and their approximate values. Notable 1986 D Lincoln penny error varieties. Double die errors. Double die errors on 1986 D pennies are relatively rare but sought after. Values for 1986 D double die pennies vary, typically ranging from $100 to $2,000, with well-defined doubling in higher grades potentially worth even more. Die cracks and die chips. Die cracks and die chips are common on zinc pennies, as the planchet material is more brittle than copper. Die chips can often appear around the Liberty or date, and sometimes near Lincoln's face or on his coat. Although minor, die crack and die chip errors can add a small premium, typically ranging from $200 to $1,480. More extensive die cracks can be valued slightly higher, especially if they impact the design. Off-center strike. An off-center strike occurs when the planchet is not correctly aligned with the dies, resulting in part of the design missing. Values depend on the degree of the off-center strike and whether the date remains visible. Minor off-center strikes can sell for $100 to $500, while more dramatic examples with a significant portion of the design missing can fetch $1,150 or more. Clipped planchet. A clipped planchet error, where a small portion of the coin is missing due to an incomplete blank, is another known error for 1986 D pennies. The value depends on the size and shape of the clip. A 1986 D penny in exceptionally high uncirculated grades, like MS65 or higher, can also be valuable. Due to the wear-prone zinc composition, high-grade specimens without spots or discoloration are harder to find. In MS65, an uncirculated 1986 D penny is typically valued around $100 to $200, with MS67 or higher examples fetching $500 to $1,000 or more. Most 1986 D pennies without errors or in circulated condition are only worth face value, but those with prominent errors or in pristine condition are collectible. If you suspect you have an error penny or a high-grade coin, consider having it graded or appraised to determine its full value. The 1990 Lincoln penny is generally common in circulation, but certain errors and high-grade examples can make it valuable. Here's a look at what makes some 1990 pennies especially rare and sought after, and what they're worth in various conditions. Notable 1990 Lincoln penny error varieties. The rarest 1990 Lincoln penny variety is the No S proof penny. This error occurred on some proof pennies minted in San Francisco, where the S mint mark was accidentally omitted. Only a small number of these No S proof pennies exist. The 1990 No S proof penny is extremely valuable and highly sought after by collectors. Prices can range from $2,000 to over $5,000, depending on its condition and the quality of the proof strike. Double die errors. Although double die varieties for 1990 Lincoln pennies are not as prominent as those from other years, some examples exist. A double die error for 1990 pennies can add value, generally ranging from $500 to $3,000, depending on the clarity of the doubling and the coin's grade. Die cracks and die chips. Due to the zinc core used in pennies starting in 1982, die cracks and die chips are relatively common. These errors are typically seen around Lincoln's face, on his coat, or around the Liberty text. Off-center strike. An off-center strike error occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, resulting in part of the design missing. Values for off-center errors vary based on how much of the design is missing and if the date is still visible. A clipped planchet error is when part of the coin's edge is missing due to a miscut blank. The value depends on the size and shape of the clip. High-grade 1990 Lincoln pennies. Uncirculated condition. A 1990 Lincoln penny in mint state condition without any errors can be worth a premium. High-grade examples, particularly those graded MS65 or higher, can attract collector interest due to their excellent condition. MS67 or higher can be worth $10 to $1,100 or more, especially if certified by a reputable grading service. The most valuable 1990 Lincoln pennies are the No S proof and high-grade examples or coins with significant errors. If you believe you have one of these rare varieties, especially a No S proof, consider having it professionally authenticated and graded for an accurate assessment of its value.